The White House not only battling Republicans over the debt, reports now saying that it's clashing with Standard & Poor's because it's warning that it may downgrade our credit rating sooner rather than later. David Beers has a big say in this whole debate. He's a credit analyst over at S&P, the big credit ratings agency. What do you think, David? I mean, the administration seems to have set its sight on you guys here for potentially moving sooner rather than later. What do you think of that?
Well, they're entitled to their opinion, and we have ours. What we're focused on, like everybody else, is when and how we're going to get an increase in the debt ceiling and what changes in the underlying fiscal policy of the country is going to be as part of that deal. And
well, would you move, David, prior to August 2nd? That would be unusual, right? You'd at least wait for the deadline, one way or the other, or would you?
Well, if we thought that there was a material chance that the U.S. government would, for the first time ever, default on its debt, of course, we'd have to move. But what we've also said is it's not just about the debt ceiling. We still think, even at this late hour, that some agreement will happen whereby the debt ceiling is increased. But what we've been saying all along is that there is an underlying issue, and that's the increase in the debt burden of the U.S. government. And that's what we're looking to see if some agreement is possible to change the rising trajectory of U.S. government debt.
You know, there are a lot of critics of S&P, no offense to you, David, who say, well, you know, you guys weren't exactly Nostradamus. You didn't see the last meltdown coming. You didn't see what was going on in real estate. So who are you to be lecturing anyone on what is the next step or stage, worrisome or otherwise?
Well, first of all, we're not lecturing anybody. Our job is to provide an opinion on the governments that we rate, and the U.S. government happens to be one of them.
Well, I guess what they're saying is your opinions have been wrong before.
Well, I think our critics actually aren't familiar with our track record on sovereign governments, which is very good, and you know, in terms of the job that we do, which is you know, to relate our ratings to default risk.
So would you actually do that? I mean, obviously, we talk about this threat, David. I mean, it's always been out there, and you're quite right to say it's been out there for some time among all the credit rating agencies, Fitch Investors and Moody's, yourself. But I always think that it's a whole nother leap to actually do it. And then everyone will point to S&P. Look, they led to financial Armageddon. Does that ever come into play, the potential for that?
Well, we've lowered sovereign governments with AAA ratings before.
Yeah, but
right?
This is the United States of America.
Well, you know, it's the U.S., but we rate 126 other governments. We've downgraded Japan's ratings several times.
Like I said, this is the
years.
United States.
I got it. It's the U.S., but we are a global agency, and we take a global view. And we've made our position very clear. We compare the rising debt trajectory of the U.S. with the other main AAA sovereigns that we rate, and we've observed many times that trajectory is you know, that gap is opening up, and it will continue to open up unless and until the government decides to change its fiscal policy.
Okay, so just so I understand, David, you are saying you don't have to wait till August 2nd for a potential downgrade, or that is not a factor here. If things look like they're going nowhere fast, if nothing looks fruitful over the weekend, you could decide way prior to August 2nd on a potential downgrade, right?
Potentially we could, yes.
Monday morning?
Well, potentially, you know, this is a fast-moving story with many twists and turns. But, you know, we made very clear, I think, in our public statement that we could potentially move before the end of this month.
Monday morning? Is that possible?
I can't go beyond that.
8:29, 9:29.
You know, you'll be one of the first to know, Neil, if we move.
David, thank you very much for coming. David Beers, that's very, very interesting.
My pleasure.
So it is distinctly possible prior to August 2nd you could see the debt downgraded of the United States.